there's not one single living person that can be the same person they were 5 years ago. Because even if they appear the same, they're now a version of themselves that hasn't evolved for 5 years. And that's not the same person that was 5 years ago, right?
No.
So even if someone appears stagnant in their growth, they aren't the same person. What they are stuck.
Yeah.
So it's that reframe. You can't possibly ever be the same person. And the oldest cell in your body is 7 years old. So you are not the same human you were 7 years ago.
Mm.
What you are is an expression of your memories and your perception. So if you have a disease that has stayed with you and your environment has remained unchanged,
Or if you have a negative memory or emotion.
or the perception, that's right. All of that stuff will contribute, but the cell is new. It's just adopted to the environment that it's been grown in. And so the idea that any of us are the same person is abjectly not true.
Well, hello, Quanta folks, and welcome back to another episode of Faark The Shoulds. It's been a little bit of a break in between. It's been a busy start to 2026 for myself and the beautiful QuantiMama, and I'm sure it has been for you guys as well. We've covered so much ground personally by, another year ticking over. Both of us turning 50, having our re-wedding where we recommitted to, we renegotiated the terms of agreement and agreed to sign up together for another 20 years. So who knows where that will lead us. And we're back with our first podcast of 2026. So I'm QuantiPapa. Welcome. And this is the beautiful QuantiMama.
Hello. Thank you for that introduction, and well done on popping your cherry, McGill.
Yes.
It's good. You did that great, sweetie. So tell me, we're back for, I think this is like season 4 of FTS, which is kind of funny. You just decide on your seasons. That's one of the great things about podcasting is you do 2 episodes, right, that season's done. But season 4, because we're in 2026, Tell me, what are we discussing today?
Well, I just want to reflect on that for a second. What an opportunity that we've had so many beautiful conversations.
I know, over 50.
Yes. Wow, that's pretty impressive. And if you still heard a number of those, that's pretty impressive too.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I mean, we love these conversations.
We do. And the great thing is there are times where we actually sit down and we speak from our hearts and we talk to one another. And leading up to and having our double 50th and our re-wedding where we had all our beautiful people here.
I've got to say, we're calling it a re-wedding because you refused to call it a vow renewal because you said that was like just lame.
That was wrong.
It was lame and wrong.
Well,
so re-wedding, we got married again.
We did.
Without getting divorced.
And you did label it Build Back Better.
Yeah, I did.
Which is very Trump-esque of you.
Yeah.
I don't know how well that'll go down in the world at the moment.
I actually think they were doing a bit of Build Back Better in Australia as well, so it's actually local. But we called it B3 for everyone's ease, didn't we?
We did. And in the lead up to that and the time around there, you and I have had, again, some really deep conversations. And one of the things that has struck me, and it came up again, and it's something I've seen as a theme through the years, is this, and I see it as an amazing ability, that you don't dwell on the past. You don't pick up things from 3, 4, 5 years ago and carry them with you. And it just made me think about the evolution of people.
And in the evolution of self?
And the evolution of self was going to be my exact next line.
Oh, well, there you go. Thank you for that thought bubble.
And so I just wanted to talk today and get people to reflect a little bit on, who they were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and why some people seem to be able to move forward very easily from trials or things that get them down at that point in time, why other people tend to get hooked on it. And you have this amazing ability to move forward.
I think that some people could definitely think of that as lacking in presence, that I don't remember what happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I mean, I remember some things, but for me personally, I know you're saying like that is an unusual thing, but I have a level of panic because I then go, crap, I don't remember stuff. And is there stuff that I'm forgetting that's important? I try and hang on to the good bits and take lessons and wisdom from we'll call them the learning experiences, because they're not bad bits. To be honest, there's no good or bad. That's what we assign, with our human understanding.
And each one of those things is an opportunity. And
absolutely.
It's, again, as we've spoken about before, it's the lens that or the prism that you choose to look at that opportunity through.
Yeah, that perception.
Yeah. I just noticed, one of the people that I listened to just made a comment. They'd had a question, they answered it, and it was in relation to the comment was put to the podcaster or the person I was listening to that, you said we'd be different people in 5 years' time, and I'm still the same person.
I don't know how that's possible, to be honest.
And it just made me think, who was I 5 years ago? And obviously, given all the craziness that went on 5 years ago, and the changes and the forced growth and the probably death of an ego for me, is something.
It's like getting growth fertilizer, isn't it? It's like the plant's not saying I need growth, speeding up, but you get the fertilizer and it's like rapid growth. Here we go.
It's like all at once or none at all sort of thing. And I look back and I reflect on that quite a bit, and it probably is definitely part of how it's formed who I am, but I've evolved and changed as a result of that. And I know that you have as well, but I don't know that you have the hold on to the memory I still feel some of the challenges and still hold some of those a little bit too close to my heart sometimes. And then that leads to me not necessarily being the best version of myself in the here and now, whereas you seem to have this ability to just move forward so beautifully. How do you do it?
Well, it's interesting that you have that observation, and maybe that's something that you want for yourself. But one thing I have been accused of by people very close to me in the past is that I lack empathy because of that. So because I don't sort of relate to that and get stuck in that story and get stuck in the story for them as well, I'm looking for the higher perspective that somehow lacks empathy. And so I'm really conscious that it depends on where you're coming from, on whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, right? Because people think of it as not supportive as well, or they think of it as supportive. I do find that when I'm looking back at something, so the things that we've obviously spoken about before and they still occupy me, or we'll call them like foundational beliefs, is am I participating in a drama cycle or a drama triangle? And within that, am I, playing the role of the victim, the perpetrator, or the saviour? Because all three are entangled in that drama triangle, and all three of them are not purposeful to our highest good. They keep us busy and compliant and all those things. So that's one thing I always consider when I'm thinking about the past if something comes up. And then I do my level best to remember that if I am viewing something, say, through a transactional lens, like that was shit and the universe owes me, or I've been of service to the family this many times and they haven't done anything for me. They're all transactional prisms through which to view experiences, right? So you're expecting something for something else.
Yes. Yep.
So when I notice that, then I say, well, I don't want to do that because I want to give because I want to give. And when you give, you don't have expectation of receipt in that, right? Otherwise, it's transaction. And that's a different economy in terms of how you want to relate to people. But if you actually want to fully give to people, then you give to them without expectation of reciprocity. And I know that this is a conversation we've wanted to have for a while, the gift of giving and how to receive, because that's something that I think in, like what I see in society is there's lots of that we give when we're feeling generous and expansive and in a love space. And when we get into a need space, we turn that gift into something that we actually want to see returned to us. And we point our attention in direction of the person we gave to, expecting them to give back to us, but that was a gift. It wasn't given with expectation of receiving back. It was just given wholly. Does that make sense?
It does. I got stuck back there when you spoke briefly about the drama.
Oh, I've already moved on.
I know. And then, And it's the amazing thing. And but it struck a chord with me because I know even today that sometimes I'm still guilty of going back and feeding that drama triangle. And you're right. If you take away what you are, take your role out of that, whether you're the perpetrator, whether you're the saviour or the victim, if you remove yourself from that triangle, then the triangle will collapse.
Absolutely.
And then it's up to the people that are fulfilling those other roles as to what they do.
Mm.
And
no three-legged stool can stand if you remove one leg.
Interesting mantra. I like it.
Well, try and sit on it. You'll find out pretty fast it doesn't work. So, yes, to collapse the drama triangle, you must excuse yourself from the role you have either stepped into voluntarily or been assigned by someone else involuntarily.
And that second part is something that I think has probably been an ongoing thing of being assigned that role through no fault of your own, or just maybe by the pure fact that you are present. And maybe
that's a loaded thing anyway. I don't want to let you leave that thing, but the no fault of your own exonerates you of any radical self-responsibility. In order to tango, we always have a part. Now, if someone's stepping on our toes, was it incumbent on us to move our foot out of the way before that foot was placed in that position?
Wow, that's an interesting conversation, that one, isn't
it?
Yeah, I guess because we probably ascribe to ourselves also that we've done the right thing, or we've done everything that could possibly be done, and how could we be a perpetrator in that, or, all this stuff has happened to me, I must be the victim. And again, we assign ourselves that role.
And I get that provides comfort to people.
Definitely. I mean,
you need to soothe yourself if you're feeling... Like, I don't take away from people resourcing themselves, right? Mm-hmm. So if the fit's hitting the shan... then if you need to tell yourself for a while that you're the victim, then do that. But at some point, pull your head out of your arse around it, because the thing about any of this stuff, and the reason why it's my litmus test that I go through when I'm reflecting on, say, stuff that has gone wrong in our lives, right? They're all growth opportunities. We'll call it stuff that went wrong, that was hard, that created suffering. So for those experiences that created suffering, I run the memory through the litmus test of drama triangle and the other one I said. I've already forgotten. Oh, crap. What was that?
We'll come back to that. So this is what I mean. You have this amazing ability to move on.
It's not very helpful. We've been going for 12 minutes and I've already forgotten. Okay, so the thing is that I run it through those because it's like fairy floss, right? Fairy floss looks I'm salivating thinking about it. It's like, it looks delicious. It looks like a cloud of just sugary comfort, and you get it, and in your hand it's nice and big as well, and then you put it in your mouth and it dissolves to nothing, and then you just feel like you've actually abused your body because it's just unadulterated, refined crap sugar, probably with some food colouring, okay? The point is that when you go into that thought flow of that memory and you strengthen neural pathways around being, in the drama triangle, and generally speaking, it's a victim role when we look back and reflect on these things and go, why hasn't this worked out? Haven't I been a good person? Transactional. It's like fairy floss. It doesn't nourish you. There's no wisdom in that. So the next evolved version of you, once you acknowledge the suffering, and I encourage people to breathe through their suffering and really feel it, because it's coming up for oxygen. It wants to be acknowledged. It wants to be felt, so you can integrate that into your body and not leave it as some emotional rubbish bin in your body to fester. Once you acknowledge it and you give it breathing time, then you can look for the wisdom within that experience. And there will always be something. Mm-hmm. And then you can also apply the radical self-responsibility framework to it as well. How did I entangle in this? How have I invited this in? And that's all part of the wisdom as well. And I think that's incredibly empowering. So then when we talk about the things that we've experienced, firstly, I must accept that somehow we invited that in.
Yep.
Okay. Secondly, I would much rather not be me from 5 years ago.
No, I agree completely on that one. Yep.
So there's good there. And even if, say, I was in a position of my health had declined, and so 5 years ago I was in good health and now I'm in terrible health, I still want to be this version of me because I'm calling in some bigger experience so I can get my head out of the proverbial and express myself in a healthier way. I'm obviously just calling in the contrast of ill health so I can move to an even more abundant health space.
So are you, and this is coming back to where we were sort of originally talking about this ability you seem to have to move on. Are you just processing information that is right there before you at that point in time, working your way through it and then just looking forward to, looking forward to the future of what's the next experience that I'm going to have? Where am I going to move to next? Where's my growth path? Where's this thread taking me? Rather than following the thread the other way back into what could be, as you said, taking a memory that wasn't necessarily great and strengthening that memory.
That is a interesting question, and I suspect many people would go into future dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
I do a little bit, but actually recently I've been getting exposed to the 12 steps of healing and this somatic respiratory integration technique, which is neck level, can I just say. It is so cool. I think breath is so amazing anyway, but what happens
It's very
there,
helpful.
It is very helpful. It's good to do it in and then
everybody
out.
can do it.
They can.
They just can.
can.
You're all amazing. You're all capable of it.
That's it. Ticked that skill set. One of the things about SRI technique, this somatic respiratory integration technique, is that when you are feeling your suffering is how we'll language it, right? So whatever heartache, hardship is happening for you, you acknowledge it, and then there's like an invitation where you can say, give me more of this. Because generally speaking, whatever you're feeling is your suffering, there will be more experiences in there, underneath, in the subconscious, in the unconscious space that you're not aware of. And so my strategy now, and I'm telling you, I ain't perfect at this. Sometimes I definitely am not the best person to live with. Mm-hmm. But my strategy now is if I'm feeling that suffering, rather than looking for a distraction or a panacea or something that takes me away from it, I'm like, it's like walking into a cold ocean in winter. I'm like, it is freaking cold and I'm going to keep walking because I'm going to walk towards that discomfort and say, you are welcome here, knowing that at some point I'll integrate it. And that is what is making me so excited now, because it's sort of exciting, it's sort of not, because right now I'm kind of, well, I've had a few kind of quiet days, haven't I?
You have.
I haven't been the greatest version to live with.
No, but you're still the version that I choose to live with.
Well, you're very kind.
Well, I signed up for 20 years.
You
so,
did, that's right.
You know.
We said that. We were like, oh, shit, we might have pulled that trigger a bit early. Oh, well. There was only a 3-day cooling off period. We were still in the honeymoon effect.
That's only 20 years. What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing.
At least we won't have 4 kids in this next one.
We've run out of having children, which is lovely. I lost my train of thought. I haven't been great to live with, but within that, and you're very generous with giving me space with that, but I have been saying internally, give me more. Give me more of this, bring more of it out. And I always say I'm like fair weather spiritual gal, you know. I only like it when I've had the evolved thought and the wisdom land on me. I don't like the murkiness, but I'm right there right now and I'm doing my level best to love the murkiness.
So is that over the years, because this is, I know you're just moving into learning a bit of SRI, and I was lucky enough to witness some of it the other day with our beautiful friend. You've almost... Is it giving you a framework around something that you've really probably been doing for a good period of your life? Because I know that I get hung up on some stuff that can be from 5, 10. I even have memories from childhood that will sometimes grab me, and and I've gotten better as I've evolved as a person, where I'll go back to that, you know, that little 8-year-old McGill and give him a cuddle and say, you know what, it's going to work out all right, mate.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't worth the stress level that's coming in. And using that technique through many different memories, or, going back to one and going, you know what, I'm going to look at that from a different point of view. So instead of putting myself in the victim role in what happened here, I'm going to see what else I can be, or I'm going to change the lens on that. And who was that other person that was there? What were they seeing? So I'm evolving from that point of view. But I just, I talk to you sometimes and ask you about memories from your childhood, or from, things that even we've done together, and you happily look at me and quite honestly and openly and lovingly say, I don't remember that. And I sort of go, hey, but you lived it. So
allegedly, unless the Matrix is true.
Well, who would know? Part of you lived it. Part of the being that sits before me, it's in your field somewhere. And I just admire the fact that, because it's mostly the challenging things that come back up, and of
course,
we don't tend to dwell on these amazing things that we've all achieved. It's just the challenging ones that come back. And I just look at it and I go, you just seem to be able to go to process and move in such a positive manner. And it's something that I would like more in my life, and I'll embody that, and I'll take on the lessons of what you said, running it through the drama cycle, running it through the transactional stuff, looking at the SRI in relation to it as I learn that sort of stuff as well. But you've only just got that framework in the last 3 or 4 months. But it appears that this is a skill set that you've just had.
I suspect there's an awareness about impermanence. And I say impermanence because, we're here for this blip of, what have I decided our natural lifespan's 150 years. So a blip of 150 years.
You've got 80 to go after the next 20, babe, if you decide you're out.
so many options. I mean, I still won't be at halfway. It's great. That's probably why I signed up for the 20. I was like, I've still got 80 in my pocket. Now you'll be there. So the impermanence thing, I think there's a language for me now. I think that's probably what's different about me now, is I have a language around this stuff. I never had a language around this stuff. I always sort of went, well, I had some experiences in an ambulance and I got that life was precious, and, but I was just so normco when I worked in ambulance. I didn't have any language around this stuff. And then I started getting a hunger for this information. I jumped into Bruce Lipton's information and Joe Dispenza's information. I think their runs on the board are amazing, like what they're doing with people. That's where the evidence is. I don't care what any mainstream medical model says. Like, these people have evidence coming out the wazoo because of the people that do their
it's real empirical evidence. It's like, here's this person, and now here they are again.
That's right. Correct. And so where I guess that impermanence is coming from language now is the notion, or the truth as I would call it, is that we are eternal spirits or energy that are hooked into a universal field, and we're here to experience the human flesh experience based on whatever it is we might have called in. And so sometimes within that space there's a hardship sort of narrative running through our life because we've called in that contrast. Perhaps we've had lives of ease. And something that really hooked in for me that was so fascinating, because again, the memory thing, I when someone says, okay, remember something from childhood, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to fail this test immediately. I just assume I'm going to fail. Was I did quantum healing hypnosis technique with a woman in Ocean Grove who was just so beautiful the way she held space. But essentially what that is, it's a Dolores Cannon technique, and the way Dolores essentially has taught people her process is that you take people through some memories, and you can imagine that felt really challenging for me, just trying to remember stuff. But when you let go and you say, okay, memories, like there's no pressure, just whatever comes up, and you trust in the subconscious, then things come up, right? Mm-hmm. And so all sorts of things came up that I wasn't expecting. And again, I couldn't possibly tell you because that happened a couple of months ago. But what happened then was then the process is that the practitioner will take you through essentially a hypnosis process, and you drop into what are previous lives. And I had no forecast of this stuff. I had no notion of memory, but the stuff that came out of my mouth, I very much felt like it was, I was a conduit for it. And the lessons within that were just so beautiful. They were actually reaffirming. They were lives that had been led, that me as an energy field had some entanglement with, as in I was embodied in those bodies and I lived those lives. So that was kind of my understanding around that. And you were there as well. So, and I know you've said that to me before, that we have journeyed together before, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, I have no memory of that. I feel no access to that information. I've never had flashes of previous lives or anything, but the QHHT as a technique seemed to work for me, and I just got this information, and the messages were so beautiful and so useful to me that I immediately went and quit my job. Sorry to my beautiful former boss. But it was really illuminating for me, and it was like, get yourself in alignment. This life is not forever, so you need to get going. And like, even that was great. So within that, there were hardships that supposedly I've experienced, and I was able to extract wisdom from that too. I mean, they were like slogan worthy to go on a T-shirt, and I just loved that. So now I get to employ them in this flesh and bone experience.
So you're tapping into memories well beyond your capacity to attach
think so.
Into you easily, and you're now sort of moving, again, it's that real element of you're moving yourself forward. Now, whether that's you're moving yourself forward in this lifetime or you're moving yourself forward in previous entanglements you've had, it just, again, it's that's what I think I'm getting at here, of what I struggle with sometimes, but also what I admire is the fact that it's almost like you're always putting a positive spin on it, because tomorrow's a new day. The next challenge is coming, and bring it on.
Yeah,
I'll invite that, and when I'm at the depths of despair in that challenge, I'm going to say, you know what, give me a bit more, because once I've dealt with this, I know that I can move forward. And if life was just blissful all the time,
God, no,
then we wouldn't know what bliss is.
Absolutely. You need contrast.
And that contrast, I mean, sometimes the depths of that, or the heights, for want of a better description, can be momentous. And I guess it's a matter of how you then deal with each one of those things. So even when you're in the highest of heights, also, I guess you've got to know that, you know what, at some point in time, I'm going to hit a little bit of contrast here.
That's right. And so then the radical responsibility kicks in to say, I'm going to call in the contrast because I want to be able to notice the difference. And I do think that like birth is a great teacher for that, in terms of having a beautiful encapsulated experience. I mean, firstly, you get like a baby at the end and the biggest dump of oxytocin, which is like your love mothering hormone. It's the best. So you get to bathe in that. But, and this is why I love working with expectant couples, because it's like you got to get that notion of trust and surrender and the invitation of contrast, so that you can fully experience a birth. What I see around us in society is constantly this wish for comfort and rescuing from discomfort and panaceas and distraction, right? And I'm like, you chose to be here. Like, you're an eternal spirit or energy field or soul or whatever you want to call it, right? However your framework is. But essentially you are an energy field experiencing a physical life, and you're now you're narcotizing yourself to the contrast. Like, bathe in the contrast. That's where the gold is.
Well, it's the magic pill scenario, isn't it?
Yes.
One of the greatest things when we're through the, and I've obviously been gifted to come along with and help you with a lot of those couples.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to challenge males and partners as to what their expectations and even what their roles are in birth, because of the experience that I had with you. And it's like, the thing I've always stood out to me is that you've always said birth's a marathon. no matter what happens, you still have to cover the distance. If that happens in 10 minutes, which would be considered extremely fast,
or if that would be impressive.
If that happens in 3 or 4 days, you've still got to go that same distance. And I guess that some people just go, yep, that's what I'm going to do. And whereas other people look for that magic pill of going, well, what's my way out here? And I guess to a point, for me, I would challenge people and say, you really run the risk of missing the entire experience here of of everything that you are capable of as a birthing mother, but also as a supportive partner, and the level of energy exchange that can go on and support that can go on without necessarily words or anything like that is mind-blowing.
Yeah. It constantly surprises and delights me when we get to work with couples who are expecting their first child, because I'm like, holy smokes, you are wiser than we were. I remember this bit. That we still got ourselves information, but we had no real concept of what birth could be. So the fact that there are expectant couples out there that are welcoming their first child and they work out they need more than just, I'm going to call it hospital drivel, which is what the birth classes in hospital are. They are essentially tours of what
we are going to do to you.
Well, what our arsenal is at the hospital. We've got this, that and the other. And let's talk about instead connection of relationships and relationship with the baby and how you can skill yourself up to know that you can take on any adversity or any, discomfort or whatever it might be, but resource yourself up for life and experience the contrast. And so often, it is couples that have already had a less than desirable experience is how we'll call it, right? They just know it could have been better and they heard from someone else. And that then prompts them to go and find out more and leads them down that rabbit hole. And, I celebrate that. And I also celebrate the fact that they had the contrast, because that creates a greater investment. We had 3 home births after a hospital birth because the hospital birth was such a wonderful contrast. It was a shit show, but it was an amazing contrast. And so what happened when we saw how much it was going to cost to have home births? We went, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We're not doing the hospital birth again because that was not held and it was not cared for and it was not patient-centric. And I obviously hope for everyone else that births in hospital, they have a different experience, but ours led us to to give us a contrast so that we could make really, I guess, an empowered decision for the other 3 births.
How'd we get here?
Well, the thing about life is that the big contrasting experiences, the moments that stay with you, that call your attention and stay with you for years later, are often, as you said, they're quite stressful. They generally are marked by a level of, say, disempowerment, disembodiment, all the disses, right? You have difficulty being present and fully embodied in the experience because it doesn't feel good. You just want to be somewhere else. The thing about birth is, generally speaking, in the whole, you walk out with a live baby. And that is the most miraculous thing in the world. That even first day where this little human is in your arms and you can't quite believe it went from a couple of cells that divided and turned into this fully grown human with, fingernails and eyebrows and sometimes a full head of hair, and you just can't even fathom that. And it was all done in 9 months. That's insane.
It is pretty impressive, isn't it?
It takes longer to build a house. So
it takes longer for us to build a house.
Well, definitely. So with that, there is this thing where it's miraculous, and somewhere in there you wonder if it could have been better, because it is a transformational experience. And it's great to have the baby, And I always remember in ambulance school, there was one of these things of, if shit goes wrong in a birth, don't say to the patient, well, at least you've got a healthy baby. And I was inclined to agree, I just thought that's gaslighting. I didn't have a language for it back then. Thank you for gaslighting. Thank you for society bringing that to us. But that's gaslighting. And because it's not. Yes, you have the baby, but could that experience have been better? Absolutely. Could it have honoured the magnitude of the experience? Yes, it could have. And these women particularly, but parents know that somewhere in there. And so then they come seeking a more, I guess, enlightened experience, one that connects them into it. And so that's why birth is so cool for that. Because you then generally go and have another kid, on average. Sometimes another 3. And in that decision to keep expanding your family, you gift yourself more opportunities of how could this be done in the best way for us possible way. So I love that. I think birth is a very elegant example from that point of view. And, there's even elements of our birth experiences that I've forgotten that sometimes come up, and you'll say something, I'm like, I forgot that bit.
No, well, good. I really wanted to drill down on how you, and this is, you always, to me, and I know you have your moments where you don't feel it. I know you have your moments where you probably feel like you're stuck or stalled, and I might be, in the right there to be able to hold that space for you. But how I do admire how you always seem to be moving forward. And I was just curious as to what processes you use to look at those challenges, those difficult situations that we come across, and how you manage to seem to process them and just, keep moving forward. So thank you for sharing about the use of the drama triangle. Thank you for sharing about the, oh God, now I've forgotten
transactional
about
stuff.
The transactional giving, and then your third one, thank you for sharing the processes that you go through that allow you to look at a situation, work through it, and then move forward. Because I do appreciate it, because it means if I, mess up a little bit too much, I just got to, work along a little bit, in a few days' time or a month.
Just wait it out.
Yeah, just wait it out. I'd never do that, darling. I'd rather have the discussion.
So what was our topic in the end?
Well, we were talking about, I was drilling you in relation to how you're a different version of yourself, and so I guess that morphed into how you always seem to be, I wouldn't say that you're always a sunny side up person, but you're always looking forward to the future. You live in the present, which is just such a divine thing, because you don't miss what's going on. But then when we get down the path a little bit, you don't tend to reflect back over what it was 3, 4, 5 years ago that was the real trip over hazard that was holding you down.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to just finish on this one thought, if I may, please. And that is that there is not one single living person that can be the same person they were 5 years ago. Because even if they appear the same, they're now a version of themselves that hasn't evolved for 5 years. And that's not the same person that was 5 years ago, right?
No.
So even if someone appears stagnant in their growth, they aren't the same person. What they are stuck.
Yeah.
So it's that reframe. You can't possibly ever be the same person. And the body is a beautiful reminder of that. It's, again, so elegant. I just love Mother Nature. The oldest cell in your body is 7 years old. So you are not the same human you were 7 years ago. What you are is an expression of your memories and your perception. So if you have a disease that has stayed with you and your environment has remained unchanged,
or if you have a negative memory or emotion,
or the perception, that's right. All of that stuff will contribute, but the cell is new. It's just adopted to the environment that it's been grown in. And so the idea that any of us are the same person is abjectly not true. And so why not look to be a better version of yourself each and every day?
That's beautiful, darling.
Thank you, sweetie.
I'll take that advice on board.
Please do, because I've got to live with you.
This is true.
Beautiful Quantifolk, thank you for joining us for our 2026 cherry popping episode. We love to pop cherries. Another beautiful conversation, McGill.
And thank you for being put under the microscope, darling.
Oh yeah, I was not expecting that. I won't make that mistake again. Lesson learnt. See you, Quantifolk. We'll talk to you again very soon.
Bye.
Beautiful Quantifolks. You know, at QuantiMama, we have a mandate that we feel so passionate about. We want and we are raising the community's vibration and frequency and consciousness through parenting and birth experiences. Such incredible, transformational experiences that will shape you as a person and are the very fabric of life. You want to find out how to high vibe your experience even more? Then QuantiMama is your place. Head there for the High Vibe Birth course, ultimate preparation for birthing. Head there if you want to re-engage your child in the love of learning for the Take the Leap course, which is a deschooling course for parents. There's beautiful mind movies, and obviously this podcast is there, and we are here to support you. So head there for all the juice.